Hey everybody, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the St. Canard Files, the Darkwing Duck podcast. I'm your host, Will Santana, and
I'm Mike Russo, and I'm descended from a line of weenies.
Are you really, Mike? No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
actually, no. My grandfather served in World War II. He was a pretty tough guy. My parents were no pushovers either, so no, I definitely was not descended from a line of weenies. Darkwing is, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, my family's all military too. From my great grandfather, my grandfather. I got 3 uncles. My dad was in the military. I was in the military. I got 2 cousins who are currently in the military. So I have a military family. I only think of maybe 2 people who actually served during a war though. My grandfather, and my dad did.
Right. Okay. Yeah. My grandfather, like I said, in World War II.
Okay. Yeah. My dad was Desert Storm, and I think my grandfather was Vietnam.
Oh, okay. You see the age gap, right there. Well, my grandmother was a war bride.
Okay.
Yeah, they met during World War II when he was in England, and that's where she was living. She was English. So they met in England, and then she moved back to the States with him, and they got married.
Okay. Maybe one day we can have a discussion about our family or our childhood a little bit. You know, people can learn more about us. But I know there are certain things we both have that's off limits, so you know we'll have to prepare for that if we decide to do that one day.
I don't need everybody knowing everything about my life.
Let's give everybody your address, Mike, so they can find where you live. They can stalk you, man.
It's 123 Fake Street.
Okay. Okay, well, everybody, you know, before we get into this episode, I won't be here next week for our recording. What episode's next week, Mike?
Revenge of the Return of the Brain Teasers 2. I think it's one of your all-time favorite episodes, right?
I think you're telling an April Fool's joke very early or very late. But yeah, I won't be here because I'm heading to Pensacon next week. I will be there 3 days, but I will actually be in Pensacola for 4 days. I'm going because the voice of Mickey will be there. The voice of Ahsoka Tano will be there from Star Wars Clone Wars. Ernie Reyes Jr., Donatello from Ninja Turtles, and he was also Kino, right?
Yes.
Kino. Okay, yeah. I didn't care for him as Kino though. I
I take him or leave him.
Yeah, but I love Ernie Reyes Jr.'s in other movies like Surf Ninjas and The Last Dragon. I think he was in Rush Hour 2.
Are there any pops of him that you can get signed?
I got the Donatello pop from the movie. I actually have that one.
Oh, from the movie? Okay, well that's perfect then, isn't it?
Yeah, he wasn't the voice of Donatello. He was the guy in the suit.
Okay. That was Corey Feldman in the first movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was the one in the suit though, actually doing all the fighting.
Yes.
Who else was the one guy I really wanted to be there just canceled though. He was the voice of Grimlock. I cannot think of his name right now. For all my Transformer guys or women, he was the voice of Grimlock in the cartoon. Me, Grimlock. That was him.
Yeah, I don't know for all the times we've mentioned Transformers on this podcast, you think I'd at least remember.
Yeah, I'm a big Transformers guy. So that's all I have going on this upcoming week besides work. Mike, you have anything coming up with you?
No, not really. Things have actually finally been quiet around here. My birthday, as of this recording, is in a week, so that should be fun.
Oh, man. Turning 50, right?
Yeah, sure. Okay. -8. Things, like I said, things have just been quiet. It's actually kind of nice. May's almost over, that's kind of crazy. Halfway over, I should say. Not ready to go back to conventions and stuff yet. I hope to be able to do that kind of stuff more soon. But thank you for finally sending me that poster with Michael Bell, Terry McGovern, Jim Cummings, and Katie Lee's autographs on there. You started that for me over a year and a half ago.
Yeah. It was just Jim's autograph that I was missing on there, man.
And I was supposed to get that done last year.
Yeah, but he the Corona thing canceled that event for you though.
Yeah, that was canceled completely. So it waited almost a year. Got to get that thing framed.
All right. So last thing, Mike, before we get into this episode, I finally saw season 1 of The Mandalorian. I'm gonna start season. Oh, I really liked it. I really did.
Good, right?
Yeah, it was really good. I finished The Falcon and the Winter Soldiers. Is it one season? Is it only 6 episodes? That's all I saw on there.
Yeah. It wasn't a very long season.
Okay, but I enjoyed it. It was really, really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we enjoyed it too. We're looking forward to Loki.
Oh yeah, Loki. You know, I'm gonna try WandaVision again, man.
You never finished it, right?
No, I couldn't get past. I think episode 3 is where I stopped. I just was not into it, man.
Don't bother with episodes 1 and 2. You already saw them.
Yeah.
Why don't you just go to episode 4 and start from there?
Okay, so yeah, I got that. That Mighty Ducks. That thing is trash to me. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, my wife is currently watching it, but I have no nostalgic attachment to those movies, so I have no opinion one way or the other.
Mike, I don't know if this is a hoarder move of mine. I own something. It's one of those Darkwing pins. It's the video game one with Negaduck, not the one with Quacker Jack.
Right. What about it?
I already own that one, and I always see it for like $20 and up. You know when I'm looking at Darkwing pins to see what else is out there right now.
Yeah.
But I saw one on Mercari for $6, and then it was like $3 shipping.
Wow.
I just bought
it could be a bootleg or something.
No. I just bought it. I hope it ain't bootleg, but I bought it. Was that stupid of me to buy it even though I don't need it? Just because I saw it so cheap?
I guess it's kind of hard to pass up something that's that cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So, you could always resell it.
Yeah, but or maybe I'd do it as a giveaway on our page or something. I don't know.
Hey, sure.
Yeah. It was just something
I need more stuff for that.
Okay, I actually got more stuff coming up for that, man. We got the Funkoverse. Tammy Lederer donated a Negatron Funko Pop and one of the Boom comics. I think it was number 6. She donated.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I got all those other Funko Pops still for giveaways and a couple other Darkwing stuff and the Terry autograph.
All right.
Yeah, so we got a whole bunch of stuff, but enough stalling. What episode we got today, Mike?
Inherit the Wimp. The second episode of ABC season 2.
Okay. And these are not in the same order that's on Disney Plus, correct?
Yeah, really weird. I don't know what's going on with Disney Plus's order. It's funny how the syndicated Disney afternoon episodes are all in air date order, but the 2 ABC episodes are completely mixed up. It's like there's no order in particular. It's not production order and it isn't air date order. I don't know what's up with that, but yeah. So if you're following along, you can't follow the Disney Plus order. Follow our order. That's the air date order.
Okay. All right. So, Mike, we're doing Inherit the Wimp. What's our production and air date?
Saturday, September 19th, 1992. And it was 80th by production number.
80th. Woo! It's way back there.
We're in the 80s. We're almost done.
Yeah, it's way back there, man. Oh, man.
I can't believe we're that close to the end.
Yeah. Oh. All right. So, who's our story editor and our writer?
Our story editor is Tad, and our writer is Gordon Bresick. This is only the second one he did. The first one was Slime OK, You're OK. And he's got one more to go as story editor before he's done. None of the episodes he worked on are really my favorites. I'm not a big fan of this one. How about you?
This one's okay. It's okay to me.
It's it's all right. Like very talky, like the last episode. It's got some points in its favor. I like that Megavolt's in it, although it's nowhere near my favorite Megavolt episode.
But no, I won't go that far now.
No, I'm glad he's in it though. I'm glad he's in it.
Mm-hmm.
And animation, we've got Han Ho Huang up again.
Okay.
Kind of boring animation. The characters stay on model really well. They look great. But the animation itself is kind of boring. Nothing really exciting happens visually. There's a couple of good, decent moments here and there.
Okay.
But there's also a very big animation mistake that happens at least 3 times in this episode. You caught one. There's
I
two
caught
others.
one.
I'll point them out when it actually starts to happen. But it isn't in the character animation. It has something to do with the backgrounds. So I will mention it when it gets close to one of those scenes. It's okay. I preferred Sun Wu and Monsters R Us compared to this. But it's okay. Were there any scenes that jumped out at you for any reason besides the mistakes?
The one scene really popped to me, and I can say it now because this is at the very beginning. It's when he's doing his entrance at the beginning, and he's on the billboard.
They used a lot of that in the new intro, so they must have really liked it. It starts off good visually. I'll admit that. Since we're already talking about it, we might as well just start talking about how the episode starts.
All right, let's go ahead and get into this episode. We start off with Darkwing narrating, and he starts off with an entrance right away, but it's not a full Darkwing entrance. Go for it, Mike.
Yeah, he's not talking about himself in the first person. He's saying he is the eraser that rubs out the typos of crime. And then he says, he is, and then all of a sudden, his outfit changes to Drake, and he says, Gosalyn's dad. Gosalyn's dad? It turns out this isn't actually happening. He's reading a report Gosalyn wrote for her English class.
Yeah, he's upset that she's writing on her assignment that Darkwing's her father. She's giving up the identity.
Yeah, he's like, you can't tell the whole world I'm Darkwing Duck. And she's like, I'm not going to tell the whole world, just the kids in my English class.
But then, he kind of comes up with an idea. He suggested that she does on her dead relatives, right?
Yeah, on his old ancestors, obviously the ones that are all dead. And there is a great line. I love this line.
Me too.
Drake asks her, how would you like to meet a few? And Gosalyn says, it depends on how you mean
that. Yeah. And she said something about
the dead ones are not cooperative.
Yeah, they're not cooperative. I thought that was hilarious too. Oh man. So we get Darkwing, and he wants to short the family tree, and first up we get Webwolf the Barbarian.
Right. So they have to go up to the tower for this, and they're going through his book, his ancestor's book. Yes, the first ancestor he shows her is Webwolf. During this sequence, when they're flipping through the book, none of the ancestors are seen talking, but as we mentioned them, I'll just tell you who voiced them. Webwolf is voiced by Terry McGovern. Initially, I thought it was Jim, but I think the more I listen to it, the more I'm sure it's Terry.
I think so too.
So Webwolf, he kind of looks like Launchpad. He has the same kind of build, a huge beak, has a wolf skin around his neck. According to Darkwing, he invented the wheel.
Yep, and Gosalyn wants some royalties from that.
Yeah, what are the royalties on something like the wheel, she says. Yeah. And then the next ancestor was Sir Mallard Quackmore, a knight from the Duck Ages, Darkwing says. Did you notice the dragon he fights is the same one from Quack of Ages?
Oh, he did look familiar, man.
There is a damsel in distress in this scene who talks, but I don't know who voiced her because there's no other female in the credits except for Christine. It doesn't sound like her, though, so I don't have any intel on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, she only said one line, so I don't think it's that big of a deal.
But Mallard Quackmore is voiced by a guest voice actor in this episode. It's Roddy McDowell, who, yeah, I know I said voice actor. He wasn't really a voice actor. He was born in 1928. He died in 98 at the age of 70 from cancer. But he had a very, very long career. He was born in England before moving over to the U.S. He started acting at the age of 10. And he was in all sorts of movies and TV shows. If you look at his IMDb, there's almost 300 separate credits. Some of his acting were in the Planet of the Apes movies. Okay. The 60s and 70s ones, not the newer ones. He wasn't alive at that point. There is a little bit of voice acting, especially towards the end. This role in Darkwing Duck was his first Disney role. Then Warner Brothers got a hold of him. He was the Mad Hatter in the Batman animated series.
Hey.
And he was also Snowball, Brain's archenemy from Pinky and the Brain. Actually, his last role was in the 1998 Godzilla cartoon before he passed away. So you're really, really famous actor. I kind of like him as Mallard Quackmore. He's got a pretty interesting voice. I like him. How about you?
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
And the last ancestor is Quack Mallardson, who is also known as the Whittling Kid. So we're back in like the old West.
Hmm.
Did you know there was a Toon Disney edit here? The
No.
the gunplay scene as he's firing the guns at the two outlaws, that was completely gone on Toon Disney.
But it's Disney Plus showed it though with all the bullets and stuff.
Yeah, my
Yeah, okay.
bootleg cuts from Darkwing introducing him to him blowing the smoke off his gun. It's cut out completely.
Okay.
As this is happening, we didn't mention the Darkwing accidentally breaks the cross differential axle binding on the Thunderquack, so Launchpad has to get a new one. Where does he go to get one?
The Time Top.
Didn't your heart break when we got a reference to Quackerjack, but we didn't see him?
Yeah, that sucks so bad.
Darkwing says his name.
Yep.
The last reference to Quackerjack we're ever going to get. He mentions him just that one time.
Oh man, don't break my heart, Mike.
I know. I really wanted him to show up this season too.
Yeah.
And so Launchpad is in the time top trying to get this axle binding, and the lights in St. Canard start to flicker. And when that happens, Will, who do you think is the culprit?
It's got to be Megavolt.
Gotta be Megavolt. I remember after watching Monsters R Us, when he mentioned Megavolt, I was like, yes, Megavolt's back. I was so happy. So Launchpad falls into the time top and gets stuck in the past.
Yeah, he goes back to ancient Rome.
Yes, he returns as Launchpadius McQuackus. I do like that Launchpad claims to have been gone for 3 years, which is just funny. For Darkwing and Goslin, it's like 2 minutes, but Launchpad's been gone so long. He jumps out. He's so happy to see them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, could you imagine like losing 3 years of your life like that?
Yeah, but Darkwing didn't even care because he's like, we got something to do right before you left. Let's get back into it.
As I said 3 years ago, let's get dangerous. But Goslin can't come.
Yeah, she's not allowed to come. She's got to do her homework.
But then she takes a look at the time top and she gets an idea.
Yeah, it's not going to be good.
No. So I do like this. They're flying through the city in the Thunderquack, and Launchpad's talking about what happened when he was stuck in the past.
That's hilarious.
And he mentions all there were statues. Everywhere you look, statues. But what does Darkwing see when he looks at the street?
Everybody looks like a statue.
Yeah, Launchpad's oblivious to it, but Darkwing notices it. They're all stiff, and they all look kind of like a drained of color.
Yeah.
No one's moving.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead, Will. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, then we get Megavolt, and he's talking to a light bulb in the fridge.
Yeah, he keeps opening and closing the door, and he's like, "You are in the dark, aren't you?" His love of light bulbs has returned.
Yeah, and then is it a salesman that approaches him?
Yes, it's gotta be a salesman. He shows up and asks what Megavolt's doing, and he tells Megavolt, "You've got some nerve." And Megavolt's like, "No, I've got yours." And he pulls out this gun, which isn't named, but we'll call it the, what do you want to call this gun, Will?
Nervous energy drainer?
Yeah, sure, the nervous energy drainer. He zaps the guy with it, sucks out his nervous energy, and the guy becomes a statue. So that's what Megavolt's doing here. He's zapping everyone's nervous energy with this gun and making them...
Who do you think voiced the salesman?
Maybe it was Neil Ross.
You think it was Neil Ross? Okay.
Doesn't sound like Terry or Dan or Jim.
Yeah, it definitely didn't sound like them.
So it must have been Neil Ross.
Okay.
In these episodes, if they get Neil or Scott Bullock or someone for something, they always use them again in a different character. They get them, they got to use them. So I'm pretty sure that was Neil Ross.
Okay.
So what happens next, Will?
He freezes the salesman. Everyone seems to not be moving, and then Darkwing shows up.
Darkwing does show up and immediately grabs Megavolt, tosses him in a trash can. Megavolt does get a shot off. Darkwing, it ducks and it misses Darkwing, but who does it hit?
It hits LP.
So Launchpad spends the rest of the episode as a statue. Poor Launchpad.
Yep. And then all of a sudden, Megavolt's turned into a wheel.
Yep, and thrown aside. It's Goslin. She has arrived with all 3 of Darkwing's ancestors.
Yep, the family map. I wonder why she picked those 3, because when he named him earlier in the episode, he said great, 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 great grandfather. There was like 10, 15 greats. So why she skip so many, you know?
Well, who knows? Maybe they seem like the coolest ones to Goslin, I guess.
Yeah, I just thought that was hilarious though, like how many greats he said, and then like she picked those three, you know.
So they decide to have a meal at the food court, and where are they having lunch?
It was like a hamburger hippo in the mall, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
hamburger hippo at the food court.
Yeah.
So Darkwing wants to send them home. He reminds her, if they're not in their time, there won't be a Darkwing in my time. I do like this scene where Wilbulf grabs an entire hamburger carton and all and eats it.
Yeah.
And then Gosling holds on to her hamburger like, well, he's not eating mine.
Hmm. Yeah, we find out the Time Top's been destroyed too.
Yeah, what was it? Quackmore mentions that Webwolf didn't like that and smashed it with his club.
Yeah.
So the problem is the only person who can fix it is Launchpad, but Launchpad's a statue, and they can't help Launchpad without getting Megavolt.
Yeah. And then, Darkwing's telling his family they can hang out at the headquarters, but Gosling starts suggesting they can help him fight crime, though.
Darkwing kind of is into the idea because he doesn't know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Because Megavolt shows up again. He comes back up the elevator, and Darkwing realizes all of his ancestors are complete losers.
Yeah.
Webwolf, it looks like Webwolf can actually do this. Like, he's strong. He could beat the crap out of Megavolt if he wanted to. The problem with Webwolf, he's distracted by anything round.
Yeah.
Whenever he sees a wheel or a ball, he stops what he's doing and he goes, roundy, roundy, roundski. Over and over. This is what Webwolf does. He can't get the job done because he's obsessed with wheels.
Yeah,
and
he can fight though, but he has the mind of like a 5-year-old, you know.
basically, and Quackmore is just a clumsy fool. And it turns out Mallardson didn't actually use guns. He actually just whittled things out of wood.
Yeah.
He whittles wooden guns because if he had a real gun, someone could get hurt.
Yep.
So they cannot do anything to save the day. They're worthless.
Yeah. So we got Megavolt. He shoots his energy, right? The nervous energy drainer. That's what I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah, he shoots it. Darkwing ducks again. Megavolt falls into the elevator. The energy ray bounces back, hits the elevator, kills the power, and Megavolt falls all the way down the elevator shaft. And then for some reason, Darkwing says, "Let's just leave Megavolt here. Let's go."
Yeah.
For no reason, they could have gone down there and gotten the gun. Instead, Darkwing's like, "We better leave Megavolt here." And he walks away, and this is the first shot. As he's walking past his ancestors, they're still in the mall, but the background is the hideout.
Yeah, that's the first time I caught it. Well, that's the only time I noticed it, Mike.
It's going to happen a few more times during the climax when they put the wrong background in.
Okay.
And so they do go back. They go back to the hideout. Then what happens, Will?
Darkwing, he's lost faith in his genetics. It's gone.
And Goslin realizes the ancestors aren't in the book anymore. The pictures are there, but they're not in them.
Back to the Future reference.
Yes, they don't do a lot with it, but it's implied that if they don't do something soon, Darkwing will not exist anymore. And I love how Darkwing tries to process it. He goes, "Well, if a man shoots his grandfather," and then he realizes how screwed he is.
Yeah. And then he learns of the Mallard curse that he didn't know about.
Quackmore mentions it. Yeah, everybody in his family's been cursed to mediocrity, basically.
Yeah. But Darkwing decides, maybe they're not born heroes, but maybe he could turn them into heroes.
He makes an attempt, yeah, but it's still pretty sad because Webwolf is still playing with the ball, roundy, roundy, roundski, and Mallardson falls asleep, and Quackmore is just all clumsy, tripping all over the place, and it's not happening. Darkwing goes, maybe they're having a rough life.
Yeah, instead of a rough day.
And I mean, it seems like Webwolf they could work with Webwolf, but when again Webwolf sees a top that Mallardson makes and just throws Darkwing to the ground. And that's when Darkwing says, I'm cursed. I'm descended from a line of weenies.
Yeah, and then we get a cutscene, right? Megavolt's at Hamburger Hippo.
Yeah, the actual Hamburger Hippo, the actual store. Again, he's talking to a light bulb in the fridge. But this time, apparently, the light bulb was giving him an attitude.
Yeah.
He goes, care to say it to my face?
Yeah. And then it kind of transitions to Darkwing. He's in the rat catcher with the family.
Yeah. They're searching out Megavolt. They find him pretty quickly. But once again, everyone is useless. Yeah. They can't do a single thing to help. And then because they have the lunch trays with them. They found out it was the one thing that could block Megavolt's gun. But for some reason, Darkwing is so frustrated, he slams himself over the head with the tray. For no reason. He slams himself with it. And Megavolt goes, what is it, relatives of yours? And then Darkwing gets shot with the gun.
Yeah, he's shot. Gosling, she's finally upset with the family, and she begins to think that she can train them.
Yeah, but it's still completely hopeless because once again, she's got Megavolt's picture on a round target, but as soon as Webwolf sees that, it's the whole roundski thing again.
Yeah.
She can't do it, but by now Megavolt has gotten enough nervous energy to power every light in St. Canard. He has it powered into this gigantic red light bulb. The lights are so powerful, even when the doors are closed, you can see the lights are on. So Megavolt's really enjoying this, and Darkwing is a bird feeder out on the balcony. At least you won't be lonely.
Yeah. So Megavolt has control of the city, every light in St. Canard, and the family, they have an entrance, Mike.
Yes. So Goslin has each of them come in. They all have an entrance. So first, Quack, who's the first one? Mallardson says, "We are the Splinters. You just can't tweeze." And one thing I didn't mention, Mallardson, after almost every single thing he says, "I reckon." So he says it after that. After a while, I did get tired of the fact that he says, "I reckon," after everything. And then Quackmore says, "We are the rust spots in the armor of crime." And then Webwolf goes, We bad. We bad. We bad. There's a cut to Goslin right after Quackmore says what he says, and there's a wrong background again. It's the hideout behind Goslin.
Oh, I didn't catch that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
It comes and goes really quick, but you can tell if you're looking for it.
Okay. I'll see if I can catch it after we finish this up.
So so we get a fight. Webwolf throws a couple of giant spools of cable at Megavolt. And what does Megavolt do?
He turns on the magnet.
Yeah, so that does nothing.
Yeah.
But when Megavolt is about to shoot Goslin with a nervous energy gun, which again, they cut to Megavolt and there's the wrong background behind him.
I didn't catch that one either, Mike.
So third time's a charm, or 3 strikes and you're out, Hanho. But it turns out the gun is actually made of wood. Mallards whittled him a wooden gun.
He did a really good job and fast, too.
Yeah, he is really fast at that. And then Quackmore comes in, with his lance. Megavolt, hits the ground with electricity. Quackmore pole vaults and lands right into the giant light bulb.
Yeah. And then when that happens, all the energy is released and everyone starts moving again. You can see the red hitting everybody in the streets.
It hits Darkwing, hits all the people in the street. It hits Launchpad, who checks his watch and says, "Anybody got the right century?" Launchpad's not having a good day. But okay, so Megavolt, he says, "You can't break me." And then Darkwing shows up with the actual nervous energy gun, and what does Darkwing do?
He shoots Megavolt with it.
He hits him right in the butt.
Yep. The pose Megavolt did, man.
Yeah, leaning over his shoulder, who just pinched my butt? That's the exact pose he's in.
It kind of reminds me of Deadpool's pose.
And then, just like going nowhere fast, they make Megavolt into a statue for pigeons to poop on, basically. At least he won't be lonely.
Yeah. And then what happens? LP he starts fixing the time top, right?
He fixes it so everyone can go home.
Mhm.
Launchpad says it'll drop everyone off and it'll zap right back here.
Yeah. But then Gosling gets some bad news after everybody takes off.
She still has to do her report.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then Darkwing just shrugs at the camera like, "Oh well."
Yep.
And one thing that's interesting, Darkwing says, everything will be the same as it was when you left, but then Quackmore says not quite, because now we're going back with the knowledge that we can be heroes, and we're
Yeah.
proud of the Mallard name.
Hmm.
And then what is it? Mallardson gives Goslin a whittled statue of herself,
Yep.
which
That
is
was kind of
sweet.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they go back, and we're gonna see the time top one more time at the very end of the series, last episode. So we
Yep.
haven't seen the last of it.
Uh.
I know. I miss Quackerjack too. I miss Bushroot too. It is what it is. And that is Inherit the Wimp, not Inherit the Wind. That's where the title came from. I don't know if you've heard of that play in that movie, Inherit the Wind.
Hmm.
But that's where the title came from. So that's Inherit the Wimp. And what do you think, Will? What is your score for this one?
Uh, I know you're not a big fan of this one. I'm okay with it. I I don't want to say it's average either. It's slightly below average, but it is doable for me. So I'm gonna go 2.0.
Okay, that is my score too. I think Monsters R Us was a little bit better. I
Hmm.
think it was more entertaining, and the Sunwoo animation was better, and I like the characters in it more. This again has a lot of dialogue. The characters that keep going back to the hideout to do the exact same thing over and over again. The I reckon and roundski stuff happening like every 5 seconds does get a little tiring. Um, it's great to have Megavolt back, but I don't think this is one of his better ones. He's not memorable, like he's not really all that entertaining. He has a couple of fun bits of dialogue and some fun scenes, but I think this is my least favorite Megavolt appearance of all time, pretty much.
Hmm.
Because he's just a villain. Like he's not fun in this one, really. He doesn't do anything all that fun. Um, it's all
He
right, it's
he's all right to me in this episode. Like you said, it's not his best, but I don't
no.
think it's terrible of him. I wish Launchpad didn't get frozen so early in the episode, but it makes sense to freeze him because if he's not frozen, then they just fix the time top and the other family members are gone. But
Yeah, they have to
because
freeze him. It makes sense.
yeah, because he's hilarious this whole episode from when he's fixing the Thunderquack. Remember, that's how he starts off the episode. He's fixing the Thunderquack. And then he's working on the time top, and then he leaves. He comes back 3 years later, and then he's just talking about there's no pizza in Rome, and all he saw was statues, 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 and more statues. Everything's a statue. Like,
I do like when we're introduced to him. He's under the Thunderquack fixing it, and he
mhm.
says the Thunderquack should be good as new. And then the wings fall off, and he's like, maybe not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like LP is hilarious in this episode, so it kind of takes away when he gets frozen so early.
And I do like how Goslin really takes charge after Darkwing's frozen.
Mhm.
Like she really does help save the day.
Yeah, she does. That's what I'm saying. To me, it's a decent episode. It's decent. Not a superior episode. I wouldn't skip it if I was binge watching though. I wouldn't skip this episode.
I think if it aired during the Disney afternoon season, I think it'd be notable as the one that's like, yeah, Darkwing's ancestors. This one's fun. But
Hmm.
I feel like buried amongst ABC season 2 with so much stuff we're getting this season that's very it doesn't help the episode.
Okay.
That to me, that's my opinion of it. I'm so biased because I lived this season and I wasn't thrilled with it. So it's hard to get past those biases. But I
Okay.
am happy Megavolt's in it.
Okay.
It's all right.
All right. So we don't have a villain to rate, correct?
Nope, no one to rate.
Okay. All right. And again, Mike, we said it earlier. What episode's next week?
Revenge of the Return of the Brain Teasers 2, featuring the return of the Alien Hats. I know you're not a really big fan of those guys. But it'll be nice to get Rob Paulson again. And the Muddlefoots are back.
Hmm.
Honker, Herb, and Binky all come back. The first of 3 consecutive Honker episodes. After that, he's done. So we're getting a lot of Honker for a little bit before he goes away. So it'll be an interesting discussion. I'm sorry you won't be on it, but I'm glad you'll be somewhere else having fun.
So who's gonna be our guest next week? Who's gonna be there with you?
I think we're inviting Bill Udesky back. He did say he wanted to do it. It's not 100% finalized, but I think that's who we've got. And he's always great discussing these shows, so this should be a good time.
Okay,
even if it's an episode I don't like that much, it should be a good discussion.
Yeah, I got to do something with Bill and Owen, man. Mike, they called me out on one of our Zoom chats, man.
You haven't done something solo with them yet, yeah.
Yeah, they called me out and they said they're mad. They were on me hard for like a good 15 minutes. They were giving it to me.
Well, I know you have plans. You have plans. So
I already got a plan in motion with Owen. With Bill, I have an idea, but I haven't pitched it to him yet. I know. Yeah, I got an idea, so it's gonna come to him soon. Bill, it'll come before you hear this episode.
Okay, I hope by the time this one drops, you'll have recorded these already.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see. If not, they'll be later or something. I really like the idea I got with Owen. I got possibly another guest on that one, but they both definitely called me out, so we'll get that emotion going. But
if these flash quacks or whatever you're planning on doing drop before this one drops, sorry we're boring you guys. But
yeah, man. So Mike, for the people who are tuning in for the first time, where can they find us at?
Everywhere: Stitcher, Spotify, Google, iTunes, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Pandora, iHeartRadio, or if you want, you can just watch us on YouTube.
Okay.
Will, do you have any shout-outs tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out to people who've been, commenting pretty much on our Facebook group, not our Facebook page, but our group. I'm gonna give a shout out to Evan Carroll, Gary Riddle, our boy Dominic. Oh man, he told me how to pronounce his last name. I screwed that up. Cantando? It could be that. Rack Hurst. I had a few of them. Katie Aitchinson, Tony Good. I'm just scrolling through. I'm looking at Jeremy Van Ripper. And we'll do one more. Megan Bigelow.
Can I mention something super funny about YouTube? That when Dirty Something dropped on YouTube, there were like no comments for it at all.
Really? Oh,
Dirty Something. It was, of all the episodes, of course, it was Dirty Something. No one had anything to say. And neither did we.
Ain't that bad, huh, Mike?
Well, you know how I feel about that one.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it for this episode, y'all. Next week, tune in with Mike and possibly Bill or maybe another guest, but I won't be there because I will be at Pensacon. For everybody, just stay dangerous.
Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Roundy, roundy, roundski.